Hello and welcome to this video. I'm going to be looking at the first game of the third place best of 3 game here of Duro, who's playing 101st, and Youshallsuffer playing the third Fallschirmjäger. Right now the best decks are, in my opinion, clearly the third Fallschirmjäger and the 101st. Third Fallschirmjäger because it is just has some very good units, especially the L6 light tank, and 101st because it can counter the first Fallschirmjäger in certain places of some maps. On the overall balance, the third is, in my opinion, clearly stronger on the average map, but there are certainly some maps where the 101st should have an advantage. One of this is right here. So basically the process by which maps and sites are decided is there's a coin toss, and the guy who wins can decide if he wants to veto the site or pick the map. So you can either choose to play Axis or Allies, or you can choose the map. If you get to choose the map and you have to choose first, you're kind of fucked, because the other guy can choose the better side on that map, and if you can choose the side, you have to choose third, because if you do not, the other guy can just take a map where third is too strong. So basically this was happened here. Youshallsuffer had to pick Fallschirmjäger, I strongly assume, and Duro probably picked this map, since he's playing 101st and this is quite a decent map for them. On this map there's actually Duro got the worst side for his division because there's less forest in enemy territory. Basically there's two avenues where he can push. Here's a lot of forest, and here in that area his flamers are going to be so strong that contesting the space is going to be very expensive for his opponent. And there's like little forest here, here and here, where the flamers are also going to be very efficient. Looking at the deployments, this is pretty much, he sends everything to the middle of the map, which seems to be best, or rather to the half of the map. Same with the other guy. Third Fallschirmjäger chooses to only start with one tank, which is probably a good idea since it's very situational in the unit. And he also goes quite heavily into forest, which is very risky. Meanwhile, at first he chose to start with 2 AT guns. Placement here is not optimal in my opinion. I feel like it would have been a lot better back here, because the optimal range of this gun is basically as far away as possible, since the light tanks are going to kill it in ranges below 800 meters. If it does not hit the first shot, or sometimes the second, it depends. Simply because also if there's fighting around it, there's gonna be stunned and stuff. Third Fallschirmjäger also choose to go for an AT gun, which is interesting. Unsure if that's a good idea. And the mortar right from the start, sure, why not. On the other hand, 101st did not bring a mortar. Like, if once you start attacking, you'll need a mortar, because otherwise you're gonna have problems crossing those roads, because then there's going to be significantly more than 100 meters. Also, third Fallschirmjäger probably should have sent like some cheap unit in the middle to hold map control. Like, the way the front line works, it's always pretty much exactly at the average position between the two sides, unless one side has trucks, like the unit's not unloaded, then I think it's slightly more complicated. But right here you can pick any point on this line. Let's pick right here. You can see the closest unit to it from red and blue are roughly 350 meters away. Here exactly the same thing, roughly over 400. And basically what this means is you can pick this side. If you're blue, you know, okay, my closest unit is more than 1200, so basically everything of this circle, which is roughly 1200, that is on red territory has no unit in it. If red side put like one unit, like 30 points MG right here, the front line would be in the middle. The distance from this is, as you can see, to the closest unit right here, it's 800 meters. So basically the front line would be right around right around here, instead of this. Also, Youshallsuffer choose to go for some flamethrowers, which is, I mean, that's just hilarious, right? This guy has 2 HP for 25, whereas other rather the one who first gets 11 guys for 30 points. So yeah, I'm guessing this isn't going to work out very well from him. In my opinion, on this map, 101st is favored. So basically, in a veto system like this, always the guy who has to pick second has an advantage, because if opponent picks a map, you can just pick the better division, and if he picks a division, you can pick a map where the other is favored. Also quite brave to pick an AT gun. You can see there's a lot of positions where you can put an MG and suppress this within 100 meters. And within 800 meters, and once he moves that one up, this isn't going to do very much. On the other side, same thing pretty much. I really don't know why he's bringing this AT guns right from the start. I think that's a big gamble, basically relying on your opponent to bring tanks, and that's just, I don't see that happening in this matchup. So there are first engagements, Flamer meets Flamer. Okay, got a little bit unlucky, but I mean still, well, unlucky to not lose a couple HP. But it was always clear how this engagement was gonna work out. Meanwhile, the front line tells him there's like nothing in this area. If you look at the distance. If you look at the distance of this, basically this implies there's not gonna be anything in the within 600 meters of this point, because that's how much your unit is away from it. So basically all this area is clear of enemy units, and this one, which is blue, is obviously as well clear, unless there's a recon, which would be very stupid to waste 30 points of a range marauder. So he could move up here easily and plant his flamer right in here. On this position it will be never gotten out of once it is in there, because it's just forest and you can't, it does not work. Meanwhile, engineer in the open, not as great. AT gun beating the tank, meaning this will be pretty stable for blue. Already it looks really bad for red 4. Duro choosing to go as his first purchase for 2 artilleries, which is fine. I would argue that you'd rather get one and then spend the money from the second on flamers to take this area faster. I mean, as soon as you have this area, you can just bring up some AT guns and just get a front line back here or something and start ticking. Which should be the game plan for Blue 4. But artillery, I mean, this has a lot of ammo. It does 40 ammo, so basically it can sustain fire for 10 minutes, plus this smoke is going to be very useful. Small mistake, this unit should be more here, so that it can support this side as well as this side. But now you see it has a lot of range back here, which it will never use. Red bunched up here, good target for artillery. I don't know why he's pushing over here. I mean, it's easier to attack than in Red Dragon, but you still have disadvantage if you push, and he does not need to force anything on this side. He should be fine with fighting in the forest, which is not going too well for him at the moment, due to the mortar, I assume. He's very close to the edge of the forest here, which is quite dangerous. Also, his line got broken here, which would be a lot worse if those weren't flamers. I mean, if he wants to hunt those guys down, he have fun. He will not trade cost efficiently at all in a forest, ever. Like if this unit engages this one, it will lose 2 to 3 HP and this one will surrender. Right here the front line should tell him where the opponent is. And unless Youshallsuffer has excellent macro, this unit will kill it. Like, he needs to be running right now if he knew what kind of unit. Like, you can't hold this forest, you need to be back where you have more than 100 range. And let's see this beautiful engagement, pinned down and gonna surrender. Front line will tell him there's nothing here. Attack over here failed. Somewhat unsurprisingly. Units, they in the open they take a lot of damage, and if they're moving, especially if they're moving, they just take an insane amount of morale damage. This front line actually connected with that part, which is terrible for Red. I mean, this game will be soon decided. I really don't know why 27 minutes. Red probably has a chance of less than 5% of winning at this point, if they make an equal amount of mistakes. This unit's shot, it's spotted, it's gonna die to this one. That one, as soon as the morale is down, it will just be irrelevant, it will surrender. It's surrounded. If you're playing as first Fallschirmjäger, I don't really know what to do on this map. Now he's calling out tanks. Fair enough. Probably would have gone for infantry and AT guns at this point, but I mean, it's fine. Not like he can lose. Also, Red has no initiative. There's like no place where he can attack. Once the front line is not anymore connected to your main area, it kind of does weird things, which I'm not 100% sure what are the rules. But anyway, like it clearly is not anymore in the middle. of the two sides. Crossing a road, quite dangerous. You might want to smoke this, especially you know the, like right here. If there's just one unit in a big area, and you have a straight line of a front line, basically how you want to think about it is draw a line, a straight line, such that it forms a 90-degree angle right here, and then the exact, and yeah, make the line like longer, and at the exact point where it's the same distance from the front line enemy unit is going to be. Right here you can see it, roughly 200-meter distance between those units, and it is exactly true. Right now, I mean, I'm not good enough yet to do this in real time, especially with all the micro, like look at the front line and know exactly where the enemy is gonna be, but especially if you spectate someone, this is quite simple to do. So at this point I'd be scared that, it's actually not the case yet, but well, I'd be scared that I get caught out in the road if you cross the road and the Fallschirmjäger has somehow vision, like as is here. If it was like just a little bit further up, you can get stunned and killed. That's pretty much the only way how you're gonna lose in a forest with Flamer against third. Also, you can see my computer, it's not very good. Basically it just doesn't matter what I put in speed, it's just gonna run as fast as it can. On our first, getting bombers. Let's see, what's he bombing? Oh, of course, sure. And here's the problem, like Fallschirmjäger were some of the best infantry. Not especially at close range, but they're still very good. They can use all their guns at pretty much most ranges, except for MG, I believe. Yet it will meet this 30.11 guy unit and just instantly get panicked and then surrender unless it can run away fast enough at 20 kilometers per hour. Well, this guy even has 20 kilometers. Like, he needs to cross the road and just set a range of more than 100 meters sometimes. Now it's been down. He clicked falling back very fast, but not fast enough. And he loses his unit. Like, at this point, if you're right, just surrender. I don't see the point in... I feel like this game, it's quite easy to know when the game is lost. Meanwhile, to add insult to injury, Duro is assaulting this position as well. This Flamer, why are you doing this? Put him back here where there's a 100-meter range. Like, not that's gonna save you, but... yeah. I think the key to winning on this map with third is attack somewhere, and I don't know what you do with this forest. I don't know if you even go into the forest. Like, send one sacrificial unit to keep the front line a bit and then just fucking run away somewhere, or I don't know, try to hold the roads, but that's super hard as well, especially if the other guy can use smoke, and like now with this game you get the smoke rounds kind of for free, or rather, whether you use or not use them, you do not lose ammo in a way. Now we're sending more infantry in the forest. I do not know why. Why would you think those guys would do better than the guys before it? You can't support them with the murder tank. This unit's gonna get bombed and then killed by the recon. It's probably spotted. Yep. Well, maybe the recon will even do it alone. Looks like it. This unit should try to migrate here. You know it is safe and it cannot be removed from here once it gets there, plus it will move the front line more. Right here it is nice too. If you get shot at, you just move behind this, press N, I believe it's a standard, and then it won't go anymore in the hedgerow and kind of stop unit from going here. They would force a tank to drive around and kill it, which is, I mean, right here you're just exposed to everything. Rather this position. Also, these guys are too slow with their grenades to actually do something against engineers. They're gonna get pinned before they can use it, so they do not work as a counter at all. He got some of his own flamers, which will kill the non-flamers, but I mean, there's 6 guys, so they're never going to trade efficiently with 11 guys. Let's see, yeah, the 30 points as well. It's got, that's quite an interesting unit. Probably not that great in this matchup, but I mean, so while this game is pretty much decided and there's not that much to talk about anymore, I guess I can talk a little bit about, actually you see here, he's in the front line, but he happens to be close enough to kill it anyway. Like once he moves back here, it will be very hard to dig it out. This tank has to drive over here. I mean, if there's no AT on here, he can actually do it, but once he's here, he can just move in any of these 4 areas and the tank has to chase it around it. If there's not a relevant unit in the area, it's just not gonna end well. Also, like, this is the average thing to happen with these guys within 100 meter. They lose 2 guys and kill a like 45 point unit, or really any infantry, no matter cost. So basically, since there's not as much to talk about, I can talk a little bit about my suggestions for balance. Like, this tank needs to go. It has 10 HE, and then obviously it has 7 of the MG. However, I feel like this 10 HE do a lot more. I'm not sure why, but well, whatever. Like, this is a unit, this category does not exist except for this deck. Like light tank, which does a lot of damage to infantry. It doesn't exist. If you want a thing that really kills infantry efficiently, with most of the other decks you're paying like 120 points or 100 points, or like with the Scots 150 points. The light tanks, or for example of the 91st Luftlande, they do pretty much nothing against infantry, and they cost like 5 points less than this one. And if I remember correctly, they're even quite a bit slower. Let's check this. I think they're roughly the same. I'm not sure. So basically, this tank, I mean, you can nerf it from a lot of different ways. You can nerf the availability. You can, like, for example, have one card with 1 star and just you get 1 unit, and then another card where you just get 2 units. So basically this deck would have 3 of those fuckers. Like, that would be an alright solution, but not my preferred. I'd just make this cost like somewhere between 60 and 70 points. Probably put it to 65 and just see if that solves the problem. Like, it should, because so many decks have like cheap AT guns which cost a lot less, and yeah. Oh, he pressed falling back. That was not a good idea. Right here. And then for the airborne, like these flamers, they can't stay. Like just make them 6 guys. It will still be a big advantage to have assault flamers in phase A. Like not that many decks have that. It's like, if I remember correctly, this one 2nd infantry division, and then probably 1 or 2 decks which I can't think of at the moment. The Fallschirmjäger, I mean, since we're not doing the same prices over all decks, I mean, I guess you could make them 50 points. That would be fine. I feel like really the only problem with the main problem with the third is the murder tank, which is just insanely good infantry support, which no other deck gets, combined with very good line infantry. Although this line infantry, just a side note, is somewhat annoying because it tends to run out of ammo, though that's a nice problem to have. Also, I just saw interesting, Youshallsuffer is using the 1-star Fallschirmjäger for some additional availability. Actually, Youshallsuffer is somewhat make somewhat of a comeback, though he can't win anymore this game. You see, there are 1,330 units points against him. I think a good way to like understand your win conditions is to think of those, like divide them by 60. So basically we have 60, or how many victory points you get for +1 over 1 minute. So basically that means right now you would have roughly 23 units, so that means you need 23 minutes of +1. If it would stop increasing from Duro right now, you need 23 minutes of +1, or half that of +2, or like any other combination. So basically a reasonable goal that had to be achieved for Red 4 to win would be like in 2-3 minutes you are at +0, and after that you need like 10 minutes of +1, and then you need another, or rather have like 50 minutes of +1, and then another like 6 minutes of +2, and that's just not happening. Especially because the points are still increasing. I'm not sure the tournament rules actually what constitutes a draw, but that's not happening either. Also, the anti-tank lines of the third Fallschirmjäger probably could use a small nerf, because they just do very well against Germans. The risk reward is just great at 180 to 120, and Germans are very common with the, well, actually, I mean, the reason they do so well now is because of what they're facing, namely like 9 armor tanks or 6 armor tanks, which cost 120 or 80 points, and well, the 6 armor tank is gonna kill pretty much every time, and the 9 armor tank is like roughly 80%, 70%, something like that, if you don't lose recon. Maybe even more. I don't know exactly. I just know that's usually always a good idea to go after a tank as long as you have like decent anti-air or a fighter. I don't think those fighters are overpowered. I mean, they're 2 stars and they're really good, but they're so fucking slow that you have serious trouble like killing certain bombers, even if you have them flying around. If they take like one wrong turn, or you don't micro them perfectly rather, the enemy plane is just going to turn, and then it's gonna outrun you. Like right here, this Mustang is faster. This turned in correctly, and by the time it can turn around and shoot at it's more than 1,200 meters, no chance to kill it. Like they're great dodge fighters with the stat agility, like very high means if there's a engagement like this. Well, now he got panicked, so it doesn't apply, but well, and once you're panicked, like the other guy is gonna catch up to you and kill you, as will happen here in a second. Looking at the map, it seems like Duro did not choose to take 2 cards of Flamers, which I think is... well, I mean, he still won, so whatever, but which I don't think is a good idea. Like, as long as you choose the map, this forest, you can assume you will be able to use them, and it's not like the 101st has like a problem with having too little space in the infantry tab. He tries to chase this unit, which will not end well. Okay, he tries back off, which is a good decision. Well, the best decision right now to surrender, because this game has been decided for like forever. And he's going to come to this realization very soon. Not sure why he's chasing. Yeah, he's evacuating. On this map, if you're playing 3rd paratroopers, I suppose you need to attack over here. Somehow break through this. I don't know. Don't really know what your game plan is supposed to be in this map. It's probably a flaw with the tourney rules also, though it's very nice to see what is the strongest matchup. Oh, let's see. Yeah, like airborne engineer, they always kill more than their cost if they can fight in the forest at all, and if they can't, you don't really bring them most of the time. So basically balance right now on certain map on our first beats 3rd pretty badly, and on the average map on the first gets beaten by 3rd. I think like 2nd infantry division isn't really the meta because it has the same strengths as the 3rd in a lot of ways. However, it has a couple of ways which is significantly worse than the 3rd, and just what the 2nd infantry division does better, does good, the 3rd does just significantly better, and you're just gonna lose against an equal opponent more often than not. How the fuck did this pioneer kill that much stuff? Well, I mean, wounded engineers are surprising, but oh well. Kill also reflect that a lot of fighting was in the forest.